Good afternoon, Sean here from Mountains Garage. It's late Friday. I'm gonna call it a week. Well, who am I kidding? I'll be out here Saturday and Sunday as well. But that's okay. I like it. Last time we did a shop life video, I said I was gonna order batteries for my booster pack, and I did. The only difference, because no such thing as a bolt-on part. The terminal was in here, so I had to make a right angle out of the cable. No big deal. I get it all back together, and I decide I'm going to put my digital volt ohm meter between the clamps just to check my voltage. I got 0, and I'm confused. What did I do wrong? It's too simple to mess up. Well, a lot of your ground clamps or jumper cable clamps have a cable connecting one side to the other. This one doesn't, so when you open them, this side's dead. Didn't take long to figure it out, but you've been there before. I know you have. Like, what did I do wrong? Let's check a few other things in the shop. I've mentioned before that I just welded trailer hitch receivers under my bench, and there's a variety of different tools that just slide in. But I found when I mounted them, I would shove it in and put the pin or a bolt through the 5/8 hole, but until I added this, there was a lot of slop up and down. I wanted the thing tight. Hard to believe, but 13 years later, I thought I should, I get tired of walking to get a 3/4 wrench, because that's half-inch bolt, to actually weld the bar on there so I can just, tighten it up that way. I just did that today, 13 years later. But yes, I have a variety of things. That's a 9-inch Ford holder. That's an Excel Speedway 9-inch Ford holder that I've adapted. My Beverly shear slides in. Arbor press. That's a holder for a hydraulic crimper. That's my junky transmission stand. I'm going to mount this buffer on a receiver tube. Why not? Why have it taking up space when I can just shove it in there when I want to use it, and it gives you ample room to work around it when it's hanging out in the breeze. This is the receiver for the transmission holder and the 9-inch Ford holder. So yeah, now I can just whip that out, pull the pin, and that's out. Now I showed you a few videos ago, I actually have the correct receiver for this mounted to the other bench over there with the transmission on it. But I want to use it today or tomorrow. So that's round and that's square. So we're talking square peg and a round hole. What are you going to do? Without spending a lot of time doing it. I just found this miscellaneous piece of tube that fits over there. It was kind of sloppy in the square, so a couple beads and that little postage stamp. And it was easily adapted. However, I wanted it to also lock the rotation. So I drilled a hole for this to go up through, and then it'll actually lock on that. Let me assemble it for you. If you can see in there, the bolt goes right up through the tube now. Now when I slide it in, it'll lock. It's about as low tech as you can get, but it works fantastic without the little addition of the postage stamp and a couple beads. It was sloppy, but now you could stand on it. So that worked pretty good, and I didn't spend a lot of time on it because, well, you know how that goes. You want to get to the project. If you watched my recent video of the Cool Tools push lock hose assembling machine, I decided while it was fresh in my mind, and this might be a good option for LS swaps as well, to go ahead and buy the nylon fuel line adapter for the same tool. So now it'll assemble these too. I've done those by hand as well with a little hot water. You can see that's a GM style, but you have to push the hose up over there. But this stuff is wicked cheap compared to the AN fittings and lines, and it's easy to buy. A simple inline fuel filter. I mean, this probably won't be so bad. They make adapters to go onto hard lines, so you can actually put a 3/8 fitting on your stock fuel tank sending unit and adapt right to this. So I'm going to give that a try. Might be a low buck solution. Again, I mentioned in the other video, I don't really know what other people do, but they do it. And this is what I do. I'm either going to use -6 AN line, or now I'm going to try the 3/8 plastic. All right, last thought for today. I hate standing in front of the wire wheel, resurrecting old bolts. I really don't have any good way to resurrect old carburetor parts. I do a lot of carburetors, and sometimes you want them to look nice. A lot of times it doesn't matter because it's going to go, down inside a boat or something like that. But if you're doing something for a hot rod, I'd like to take an old carburetor and be able to do something with it to make it pretty again. So, without doing a lot of research, I decided to give Tumbling a try. So this blue one, I bought on Facebook Marketplace for $25. It was the next town over, couple towns over. So, 20-minute ride. It came full of walnut and actually a bunch of polished stone somebody was polishing. But so just for kicks, I threw some rusty bolts in there. But a half an hour later, they looked almost new. So I like that. But before that, the day before, I was talking to a buddy of mine who uses this machine to clean his brass for reloading. So I bought this monster and some stainless steel pins. And I'm going to try that. And, if it's gentle enough to do brass, we'll see how much damage I can do to a carburetor. I'm going to start with, like that metering block is no good anyway, so gotta do a little experimenting. If you have any experience with it on specifically carburetor parts, but I've found that I love throwing stuff in that blue one. I put it in this room here and close the door. You can't even hear it. And it's working when I'm working instead of me having to do it, because a lot of times I'll just get new bolts because it's easier. A lot of times you want the factory hardware and you got to sit there and clean them all up. It's a pain. So I'm going to give this a try. I'll have to report back whether it's successful or not. Either way, I own it. I'm going to do something with it. Again, this is all a late night internet purchase. You've been there too, I'm sure. But this is supposedly some kind of separator. I don't think it's going to work with my pins, but that was another $20 I had to spend. The internet. It'll get you in trouble. Anyway, I'll check back with you. Thanks for watching. See you next week.